Hey guys, so I want to make a quick little video about why I finally switched to Stihl after all these years. And if you've seen my previous videos of me working on Husqvarna weed eaters and stuff, I've never had a good opinion about Stihl until I had to use them at work a lot, and I actually really started liking the way they're made, and they're a little bit easier to work on than Husqvarna, and they seem to be made better and hold up longer. So last summer or last fall I went out and bought this brand new Stihl FS91R weed eater, or line trimmer, whatever you want to call it. And I've been pretty happy with it for the most part. It takes a little while for it to warm up. I have used other ones of these that they'll actually act like they're running out of fuel. One of them seemed like it was like the fuel line or the fuel filter was in the wrong spot, and after you hold it at a certain angle, and it was alright. But and they do have their issues, but overall I'm very happy with it. This is a 4-mix, which is what that means. You put regular 2-cycle gas in it, but it's actually a 4-cycle engine. Like, you take this cover off right here, we're not going to do it in the video, but there's actually a little valve cover right here. You can adjust the rocker arms and stuff inside it. So that's interesting. And but the only thing I've done to it was I took the shield off, which isn't always recommended, but you get 4 bolts that hold it on. I just like a little bit longer string. That's the only reason I do that. And it's got the power to do it, but it does make it more dangerous, you know. So I don't recommend doing that, but a lot of people do. And yeah, I made a little video of me starting it up. It was a cold start. It's been sitting for probably about 3 or 4 weeks since you see it start up here. And you see it starts up pretty easy, but it's kind of cold nature, and you got to kind of mess with the choke a little bit, and then once it gets started it runs pretty good. And you'll see me weed eat some pretty thick grass and weeds with it there for about a minute or so. But main reason I quit using Husqvarna, I still got the 2 I had as backups. They were 326 LSs, and I just got tired of working on them all the time. That's the main reason I switched to Stihl. And just like constantly fighting the carburetors, and I don't know, they're underpowered to me. The best weed eater I ever ran was a Stihl FS 250, and it's an actual 2-cycle one. It's more of a commercial one. As far as I know, they quit making it. I'm not sure what the equivalent is. I know it'll be expensive. And this is right at $300, I believe, when I bought it. It might be more or less right now. But yeah, I like the way they're made. I always like the way the choke is set up. You know, it's interlocked with the throttle. So that's a nice feature, I think. And primer bulb's in an easy to get to spot. Air filter is to access the air filter, you just take these 2 bolts out here. There's mixed opinions on these lids that they used, these fuel caps that they used on these. And I kind of like it myself. It's better than the one that folds up and swings around. I don't like those. So I do kind of prefer this to that myself. But Stihls are known, which I've seen all the weed eaters do it, build up gas pressure in the, you build up pressure in the tank, and when you take it loose, it wants to spray fuel out. That's just something you just got to pay attention to and be careful with it. But no, I like the feel of them. And I'll tell you a little story real quick. Before I got this, I went out and bought a brand new Red Max. I can't remember what the model number was, but it was $350 is what it cost. Because I always liked the feel of the handle and everything on a Red Max. It's just a little bit thinner, and it fit my hand better than this. But you get used to this. And I always liked the way they were made, except for one major design fault, in my opinion. You can't adjust the carburetors on it, other than the idle speed. That's the only adjustment that's on it. So as soon as you start having carburetor issues, you know, you're done with it. Whereas this is fully adjustable. And you got the high and low and idle speed adjustment on this. So that's an improvement too. But anyway, about the Red Max, got back to the house and it started up and died. Started up and died. It wouldn't run without the choke on there. Messed with it for a long time. Anyway, long story short, I took it back and got my money back on it. Then went out and bought this, which was actually cheaper, and it's held up better and actually has more power too, probably, than what the Red Max would have had. But I also want to show you how to put a brush blade on one of these, which is pretty straightforward. But if you've never done it before, then you'll understand how to do it. And you got to buy a couple pieces separate that used to come with the weed eaters, but now they don't. So we'll look at that here in just a second. Alright, so this is the brush blade that I went with. There's several different variations, but the installation is going to be the same. There's the number on it. But this is the blade itself, and it don't have to be. This is a Stihl brand one, and it's got an edge on it that you can actually touch up, and it is reversible. You can flip it over, and you get another set. So it's like having two blades basically. So it's fairly easy to install. These are the pieces you need. I have put these on without this, but it is recommended to use it all. It's the recommended way to put it on, but you can get by with just the washer part. It'll come with your standard tool. It's got the Torx end on here and the end for the spark plug, and this will actually fit this nut too. And it also comes with this little rod here, so don't throw this away. It's got a purpose for it. In order to get the head off, you use that to lock it up like this so you can spin it. This is a left-hand thread, so you would spin it this way to loosen it like this. This would be the same way you'd replace your head here too. And it's also a good time to make sure there's no dirt and everything in here. Alright, so once you spin the head off, you get this piece here. Like I said, you want to clean that out. But you need to keep that in place because you will need it. That keeps dirt out of the bearings and everything. And you can actually, sometimes this bearing will go out and you can actually replace this. You see there's a snap ring in here. That's a pretty straightforward repair. You got one bearing here and there should be one over here too. It's fairly straightforward to change that. We're not going to show it in this video. Anyway, and you want to put your, you see it's got a little edge around here. It don't stick up much, but it's enough to line up this blade. You can see it'll fit right on there like that. Now, like I said, it's highly recommended to use this, but if you don't have this, but you do have this and the nut, you can get by without it. Because this nut, as you can see in this nut, it's recessed inside, so you can spin it on there and it won't touch those splines right there. And this is a left-handed nut as well. So you can put it on like that, or the best way is what's recommended is to put this one there. It just kind of secures it more. So that's what we'll go with. I don't really like how bulky it is, but that's the correct way of installing it. So then you want to put the pin back in to lock it so it can't spin. I think it's really nice when they make it so this tool will basically work on everything on this. You want to get this pretty tight. Then it's ready to be used. Kind of want to spin it just to make sure there's no wobble or nothing. That's really all there is to it. And be careful using these. It's recommended to have the guard on too. Highly recommended. So that's with about 10 or 15 minutes of cutting brush, and it's still got a sharp edge on it. But if you hit rocks or concrete or anything like that, it's going to start chipping it, you know. But you can sharpen it many times to keep an edge on it. Like I said, you can flip it over and you got a brand new one too. So that's real nice. And to change it out back to the primer head, just put that pin back in there to lock it up and remove the nut. Take all that back off, and your head will spin right back on there. And just all you gotta do is just barely snug it, and it'll be fine. So, but I just wanted to share it with you guys. It seemed like a pretty good weed eater, and this is real handy for thick brushes you just seen. So, yeah, I just wanted to share it with you. So, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.